Well, President Trump welcomed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House today. The leaders discussed pressing issues like the war in Gaza and the president's recent tariffs affecting Israeli goods. Our Washington correspondent Brendan Scanlon live at the Capitol Hill with more details on that meeting tonight. Brendan?
Hey there, Nick. Good evening. Well, since Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's last visit to the White House, Israel has fully resumed its war against Hamas in Gaza, and that ceasefire that President Trump took credit for has completely fallen apart.
Mr. President, will you discuss tariffs on Israel?
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office again, his second visit in the last 2 months.
But Mr. President,
His trip is the first of any foreign leader since President Trump announced sweeping tariffs on Wednesday, where he imposed a 17% tariff on Israeli goods.
We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do.
As Netanyahu aims to negotiate relief from the tariffs, his country's 18-month-long war with Hamas intensifies after a ceasefire touted by President Trump shattered last month. Protests in Washington, D.C. and around the country this weekend. Thousands of demonstrators gathering and marching along the National Mall, calling on the U.S. to stop supporting military actions in Gaza while criticizing how pro-Palestinian voices are being treated in the U.S.
Well, I'd like to see the war stop, and I think the war will stop at some point that won't be in the too distant future.
The administration says the latest escalation falls on Hamas.
Unfortunately, what we have seen from Hamas is a rejection of many of these proposals, but we need to see Hamas release the hostages. We need to see Hamas lay down their arms. All of the violence we are seeing lies squarely at their feet.
And Nick, the international community is going to be watching very closely to see what exactly comes from this meeting. Of course, they're going to be watching for not only any policy shifts that could change the trajectory of the conflict between Israel and Hamas, but they're also going to be watching to see how President Trump moves forward with that 17% tariff on Israel, given the fact that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today that Israel would be eliminating the trade deficit with the U.S. President Trump was asked about whether he was open to putting a pause on implementing the tariffs. He said that is not something we're looking at. We're not looking at that. But he did say that many other countries are essentially trying to get their foot in the door to start negotiating with the administration. Countries like Japan, we're told, could be coming to the U.S. within the next couple of weeks to try to alleviate some of those tariffs that many countries are feeling. Nick?